Okay, hello everyone. It's Michele Maher here, and I'm joined with Martin Buckland. Thank you so much, Martin, for joining me on my Pivot with Positivity show to talk about the current environment, what we've gone through, and how to keep a positive mindset while pivoting in your life and your business. So thank you, Martin. If you want to give us a few words about who you are and what you are all about.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much, Michele, for inviting me. I call myself an executive career management practitioner. So in essence, I manage the careers and advance the careers of senior executives and those who aspire to be business leaders. And then I'm also a global expert in EMBAs, Executive Master of Business Administration. I've worked for multiple business schools across the world. And I'm also an expert in mining because where we are here in Canada, it's the headquarters of mining. 81% of the world's head offices of mining companies are based either in Vancouver or here in Toronto. So in essence, I manage the careers. I hold multiple certifications in resume writing and coaching. So I love what I actually tell my clients, I actually have the best job in the world, but they can have the second best.
Oh, all right, thank you. So as we were talking before, well, I know for a lot of us, we all went through the same thing at the beginning, the fear and everything of the unknown, because we've never seen anything like this before. And I know for myself, I felt like I was going through living in a movie or something, as all my vendor events were being shut down. And I mean, really, like, sports being shut down was something I never anticipated being possible. What was your experience like at the beginning? And I know that were you here for one thing? Because I know you travel a lot. So were you here when we got shut down?
Well, actually, that's a very good question. So I was actually traveling. Yeah, I was in the Middle East. I was in Dubai, which is a major hub for me. And I actually fell sick while I was in Dubai. And when I got back, they actually thought, because it's right next to Iran, and Iran was a hotbed at that particular time, they actually thought I had COVID. So I was one of the first to be tested for COVID where I live. I live in Horseshoe Valley, so I went to a hospital, freaked them out. But no, I didn't have it. I had pneumonia. So that sort of set me back for 3 or 4 weeks because I was pretty seriously ill with pneumonia. Thank goodness I didn't have COVID. So it was an interesting transition. This is as a career management practitioner, this is my third, I want to call it recession to go through. But this has been a totally different recession. Normally you get some indication that is going to happen and the world tumbles like the previous one in 2007, 2008, when the mortgage subprime in the US hit and everything tumbled very, very fast. This one was, well, let's see how this is going to shake out. We won't fire everybody. We'll nurture them. We'll send them home. They can work from home. Thank goodness for virtual communications, because had this happened just 15 years ago, we would have been in a totally, totally different ballgame. So they're now working from home, but then they saw that it was going to be more than a week and then more than a month, and then it went to 2 months, and now what are we, 8, 9 months? So they're now recharging, they're reassessing their business. And of course, where I work in employment, the resources, the people are the most expensive asset they're going to have. So they tend to ditch them. My philosophy is that every job is temporary. You know, a full-time job, they say it's a full-time job, but actually it's a temporary job because you can be dismissed, terminated, or whatever you want any time they want to. But there is light on the horizon. There's always a positive. And I'm a very empowering and engaging coach. I like to uplift people. I give them a sense of a project or a new challenge at the other end, but they have to partner with me to get to that challenge. And in this recession, there are still many jobs.
Right. Yeah, it's that's a great point you make in terms of the technology. If we didn't have this, the ability for everybody to come work from home, because in a matter of, what was it, like a couple of days, all of a sudden everybody came home. All of downtown Toronto, I myself used to work down there at First Canadian Place at the bank,
Yeah.
So I know what it's like. The banks were never people that wanted people working from home.
No.
That was never a view. And all of a sudden, everybody, all the banks, insurance companies, the government, everybody came working, came home to work. And I think it went pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
I think that, I'm sure there were hiccups, but business continued as usual. I know that I had somebody on this show earlier who's a mortgage broker
Mm-hmm.
and has a mortgage brokerage with 200 people that all of a sudden everybody came to work from home. And again, she said, without a hitch, everybody came working from home and we continued business as is. And then it actually got busier too, because the mortgage side of things with the rates and everything.
Right.
So yeah, it's, when you think about that, there's so much opportunity with the technology. And I think a lot of the corporations are also getting a lot more out of their employees because nobody's taking a break to chit chat.
Yeah, there's
Go
no
for
water,
coffee.
no, there's no water coolers at home. But I was surprised. I've been working from home for 26 years, so I've sort of got my mental mind into working from home. But it is a huge conversion mental
Yes.
wise because you've got distractions. Many people have got families, they've got pets, they've got the laundry, they've got this to do and that to do. It's a huge conversion mentally and somewhat physically to convert. They don't have that commute to do downtown Toronto. And I was absolutely amazed at myself on how productivity, I was thinking, well, productivity is going to go down. But they say it's either leveled out or gone up somewhat. It must be tough for somebody in an office like a bank or something to be on Zoom or Teams or another virtual communication tool all the time. I mean, I'm probably on about 6 or 8 hours every day, but some of those can be on 10 or 12 hours. And that must be very draining on them.
That's true, because there have been a lot of articles written on, Zoom fatigue and how it's real, and how talking on the phone is one thing, but all of a sudden you have to be engaged not only with your voice, but your body, and you have to look, make sure you look like you're paying attention
Yeah.
and everything, and you have to be presentable and all. Yeah, so definitely it is exhausting if it is something like that full all day. I think people are very happy, of course, that they don't have to commute,
Right.
because especially the people in Toronto and the traffic, or if you're taking
Sure.
the GO train or the subway or whatever, it's I think people really are enjoying that aspect. But the whole the fact of being, at home working, and then all of a sudden the families at home, like especially earlier when the kids came home and then the kids were learning, and then you have the pets, and then you have everybody coming, like both spouses coming working from home, and some people didn't necessarily have the physical setup. You might have one office but not two offices, and all of a sudden you have to navigate the whole thing. And the other thing is, you can be so tempted to just keep working, and how do you physically, shut off for the day and say it's the end of the workday when you're still in the same spot?
Yeah, well, we're all physically distancing, but work distancing is a different medium. And so, yeah, I mean, I tried to buy, what was shocking to me, I tried to buy a webcam afterwards. I should, in hindsight, I should have bought it. But, well, the same webcam that retails for about $100 at the peak, April, May, June, you could $400 for the same piece of product. So, yeah, but now they're settling down. But, yeah, it's... this is something I'm going to be, because I write history in resumes every day. Resume is a historical document. It documents your career. This is going to be something that's going to be in a resume, well, definitely till the day I retire and go to the coffin. Like I'm still writing for 2007, 2008, and 911. And even Y2K, remember Y2K? But but this is going to be like, this is a major global thing that's going to be written in the history books for years to come, because it's affected everybody, even the tribes in, the Amazon and other places who, in normal recessions, are counted out, it's affecting them because it's been communicated to them.
Right. Yes. And it affects everyone. And it doesn't matter how much money you have either. It can affect the people who are billionaires because they had to stay home and avoid contact with people and everything the same thing. It didn't really matter. Your money wasn't going to save you from the virus.
Right. And in previous recessions, and I've tended to avoid this platform, video, Zoom or Skype or Teams or whatever. But of course, I'm in it now, and my clients demand it. And when I'm doing coaching, I'm very intense. I'm a very intense coach, and because I hold multiple certifications in coaching, so it can go from career coaching to personal brand coaching to job search coaching to interview coaching to whatever within the space of an hour. But I've had some clients who want to use me as a counselor, not a coach, two different professions, and have vented to me all their frustrations about being terminated. I can remember one guy quite clearly, and he earned $4 million, but he was mortgaged, leased, rented up to the hilt. He had his kids in all sorts of private schools and extracurricular activities, a house in Oakville, a house in Muskoka, a house in Florida, and all sorts of bells and whistles, toys and whatever to go with it. He hadn't got a penny saved, even though he earned $4 million a year. And he used me as a vent. Well, how am I going to pay my mortgage? How am I going to pay for my car lease? How am I going to pay for my mortgage up in Muskoka? And then at the end, it's very, very tough for me. I'm a very uplifting person, but when you get that 2 or 3 times a day, oh boy, that really does mean something to the soul here. And I have to go call some friend or my coach to recharge.
Right. Yeah. Definitely that would be a lot to bear.
The positive from that one is this guy, I rebranded him. I helped him with his resume, cover letters. I introduced him to executive recruiters. And next Monday, he starts a new challenge. But it's not nearly as the 4 million, but it's still good value. He's got what he wants. He's very happy, and his wife is very happy with me. And because there was a lot of conflict within the in the family unit, and now hopefully from next week they'll be settling back.
Of course, yeah. There's been a lot of conflict just in general this year with everybody coming home, and all of a sudden families spending 24 hours a day together and navigating the space and the challenges, of course, of as soon as anybody is let go, there's also that challenge, the side of things like that. I know personally that's what happened to me from the bank. A total shock when I was let go after 12 years.
Oh wow.
Right down there at the bank. My previous career was I was an accountant. I did accounting for derivatives and complex financial instruments.
Okay.
I have a Bachelor of Commerce degree. So totally different than the jewelry I'm doing now, but that's because the jewelry has always been my passion. From being a teenager, I was very creative and I wanted to create something so that everybody didn't look the same as everyone else, and that was something I carried through. I was doing that for myself and family and friends. And then after that time with the bank, it just was kind of, how they say things happen to you for a reason.
Yeah.
I needed that kick because I wasn't necessarily aligned with what I should be doing. So.
Well, you've got a very successful business. I mean, I'm an ex-police officer, and I was pensioned off on an ill health pension, and then had to look around for a new career. So I bought myself a 486 computer way back when they had the old floppy drives and 30 megabytes of hard drive. And the guy said, "Oh, you'll never ever fill that up. 30 megabytes hard drive." That cost me $3,900 just the computer. Oh. And now, and I didn't realize I had that writing ability. And a friend asked me to type his resume, and the rest is history. So, yeah, it's we can adapt, and 2 careers is the run of the mill today. I mean, the average professional in North America gets terminated 6 times.
Really? I
Yeah,
didn't realize it was quite that.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, my philosophy, I'm very tough. I'm very realistic. I say it as it is because I don't mess around with people's careers. So every full-time job that you think is a full-time is really only temporary. You can be laid off, terminated anytime.
Yeah.
So you're just an asset. You're just a number, a figure on a book.
Right.
And when they want to downsize, they downsize and they eliminate headcount by the thousands. Yeah.
Yes, I know exactly. And they do that, on a regular basis. They
Oh,
do
they
it
do
and
it
then
good times.
they do it and then they hire people and then they do it
Yeah.
again and then they hire people and yeah, yeah.
The banks
So
are a classic example of that.
that's what I was
When a
just
new
thinking. Yeah.
CEO comes on board, he has to make his mark. So what he does is he terminates people. But then by the time he leaves, that level of number of employees is almost the same as when he went in. Yeah,
Yeah.
she went in.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think for a lot of people, this time when we were, especially when we were fully shut down and nobody knew what to do with their time, all of a sudden felt like they had so much more time. And we've also, all the distractions were removed from us. We couldn't really go anywhere to, do anything. You had the time to sit with yourself and actually think about what is important in your life and what's important to you and
Sure.
reflect on your values. And I think a lot of people have taken the time to do that as well, to, just think like, was that job something I really wanted to do? Was that serving me? Or people who are entrepreneurs too took the time to think about what they may have wanted to do in their business. I know somebody had a physical clothing boutique and she took the time to set up the whole online store and things like that. But actually, I think that when you talk about the average, like having two careers and whatever, I think going forward, it's going to be even more because it's all about the skills you have and your values and tying, staying true to your values. And a lot of it will be like, are the resumes not changing too, just compared to how it used to be?
Yeah, I mean they change all the time, but just in the last, I'm going to say 3 or 4 years, they've changed dramatically with the advent of scanning. So sadly, a resume today is not read by a human being; it's read by a scanning machinery.
Yeah.
And I don't like technology screening a person, but that's the way they're processed. So they're fed into this computer, and then they're read. And of course, those computers are programmed by programmers.
So
Those
there's just to
programmers have
pick up.
probably never even written a resume, but they're a certain format, a certain content. You can't vary from that. So if you got one character wrong or some shading or an underline or something, you're counted out, even though you may be the perfect candidate. So you have to make sure that it's really spot on, a resume of 2020, not a resume of even 2018, because they change all the time. But yeah, I mean, I'm still seeing people hiring. It's not the be all. It's not like the recession prior to this, where it was doom and gloom. With doom and gloom as far as the health of the society and the health of the world is concerned, but not your career. There are lots of jobs available, but you just have to really go on the hunt. You have to be like my old trade. You have to be a detective, because where we are in Canada, only 8% of jobs are advertised. It's the lowest percentile of any country in the world. So, and then executive recruiters account for 12%. So where's the rest going to come? Through your network. So you have to build a network. You're a networker, I know.
Right.
I'm a fierce networker in good and bad times. There's no holes barred. I mean, I'm known as an executive networker. I'm also known as an executive career matchmaker. So I connect people. I love doing that across the world. I connected somebody from Hong Kong to somebody, one of my colleagues or one of my clients in London yesterday, and he's already got an interview next Monday. So I work globally. There's no country boundaries for me.
Right. And then there aren't now. This and that goes back to what you were saying too, how different this time is compared to the previous recessions, and because this is global. This is affecting the entire
Oh yeah.
world. And also, with the technology that we have, it's now opened us up to being able to connect with the entire world. Like all of the online conferences or online networking that's
Yeah.
happening is now global, and
Yeah.
you're able to attend things that you may have wanted to in the past. Like I know there's some big conferences that they've brought online,
Yeah.
and prior to this, we would have had to go on a plane, get accommodation and everything. And now you can attend virtually from your living room, and all of a sudden you can connect with all these people
Yeah.
that you may not have before.
You can learn virtually now. So all of the universities, and I work
Yeah.
extensively in the EMBA schools, the business schools across the world. I know most of them, and I travel and speak at them, or did. But now you can take a degree from the UK here in Canada and do it all online, or just a certification or a 2-week course or whatever. I got one client; he's into credit analysis, risk management, loss prevention, etc. And I suggested he didn't have any academic qualifications in the last 10 years. So I suggested, well, why doesn't he go online, look at the catalogs for all the academic institutions across the world? Right now, as we speak, he's he's studying for a 4-week course in risk management, credit analysis or something. He's going to get a certificate from the Said Business School, University of Oxford. So he's going to get that on his resume, and that's going to stand him in good stead as he enters the job search.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So have these business schools opened it up to more people to come in?
Yep.
Because
Yeah,
now it is virtual?
yeah, they were starting to get into that mode because that's the way the world was going. But the
Yeah.
COVID has really pushed them,
It's advanced
accelerated
everything.
that timetable. It still doesn't, in my opinion, suffice for in-person networking,
Right.
shaking hands. Can you remember that?
Yeah.
But you know, this guy now is going to have University of Oxford, whereas he wouldn't have been able to afford to do that because you have to go in person, so you have to fly from Toronto to London and then get the bus to Oxford. You have to have a hotel, and then you have to spend 2 or 3 weeks there. Well, now he can do it all online from his own house.
Yeah. Right. Oh, wow. That's, yeah, exactly. That's the whole, everything was going, more online, but COVID has definitely accelerated it all.
Yeah.
It's also accelerated everybody's understanding of technology and what we've had to learn on our side of things with the, like you were saying, the webcam and everything. So that, and same thing, going back to people who were entrepreneurs and never felt that they had the time to learn things that they've always wanted to, and of course all of a sudden had that time and put that as a priority so that they would start, to learn whatever, because everyth's there. That's the other thing I found in at the beginning, when everybody was from fear for the first couple of weeks for sure, but then all of a sudden a lot of people were coming online and everybody was offering their programs and their workshops, and there was a lot of free stuff too, and then it became very overwhelming. But whatever you want to learn is there.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, I would be very skeptical of some of those programs that were put together just like that. But yeah, I mean, if you just want to learn, some hobby or something, it's fine. But for something serious for your corporate job, or not for profit or somewhere else, but you need to look at a university, business school, another course. There are independent universities, not accredited universities, and some of them are very good as well. So the whole world, what was really in Canada or within your own country, is now you can go and study in Australia, you can go and study in the US, you can study in the UK, Europe, or Middle East, or even Asia. And there's some fantastic courses that they're currently building. I see them, and wow, I'd love to take that myself. Yeah.
I actually got because I really like the personal development side of things.
Right.
And then there was a lot coming on. So I was signing up for everything, but I actually got to the point that I was overwhelmed because I was signed up for things plus doing these interviews, and there was no, no time left over for myself. So
Right.
I had to kind of pull back and figure out what
Yeah.
is really important to me and what do I really want to concentrate in on my, in my business and my brand, my whole
Sure.
brand that I'm developing and, moving forward. What about, so going on that perspective, I think that the whole personal brand and creating your own personal brand has become something that's more important now than ever before.
Oh yeah. No. So
Even if you are an employee working in corporate.
yeah. No. So everybody, I break it down into the basics. Everybody on this planet is a product. You're a product, I'm a product, and everybody listening is a product. Well, so what does that product look like? So the resume and the LinkedIn profile, your Facebook, because Facebook is actually becoming a huge search engine for corporate jobs, by the way. So
and Facebook as well now.
Facebook, yeah. So be careful what people put on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's not what it used to be 20 years ago when my kids used to moon and things like that. Now it's very, very serious. So, but yeah, so you are a product, and what is the value of your product? What is your competitive edge? Give me a compelling reason why I should engage you. Because the moment you go on a job search, you embark on a job search, and when you're even managing your career, because you never know, as I said earlier on, you never know when you might be terminated. You need to have your resume up to date. You need to have a current and active, fully complete LinkedIn profile, because that's the way you're going to be found and judged, processed. But your value add, your personal brand is very, very important. So if you mentioned you're in accounting. Well, I teach I used to teach at CGA, CMA, and whatever, and they all CA, and they all thought, now CPA, you all thought that they were bean counters. Well, that's a small component of their job. They each had a unique promise of value. So my job as a personal brand coach is to extract that expertise, the value add, that competitive edge from my clients. And I work across the world, and I work in multiple functions. I've had some really, really cool clients over the 26 years. Excellent clients. I mean, I can talk in acronyms of any single function now. But what is your unique promise of value? Give me a compelling reason why I should engage you over Mary, Mark, or Paul. So personal branding, I'm really passionate about personal branding, is a very unique tool to distinguish yourself when you go into a job search. And taking that step further, I on Facebook, which is more for me entrepreneurial, I actually entrepreneurs. You have competition, and I have competition. Well, what is my unique promise of value? What is your unique promise of value? So it's not just in the corporate environment. We all have a product. We are all a product, and you have products. I have products, but we are also a personal product. What is that brand? And give me the definition. Give me a compelling statement why I should employ you over Mary, Anita, or whatever.
Right. Yeah. And it's also the fact that everybody is online now. When you look at the entrepreneur side of things, everybody's offering their workshops and their training and webinars and whatever. And how do you stand out? How do you stand out and draw those clients to you that are your ideal clients? Yeah. And same with on LinkedIn side of things, where you're talking to corporate, how do you stand out as being the master of whatever your craft is?
So people they're very still they're still scared to go on social media, But LinkedIn is the classic one for me. It's part of my brand. I teach LinkedIn. I got multiple certifications in LinkedIn, and you need to fill that out right out. It's no use you just having a basic profile. The more you fill it out, the more an executive recruiter or other decision maker will find you, and they might call you and say, "Oh, Michele, I've seen your LinkedIn profile. You're gainfully employed. You're really happy. But you know what? I got this dream job for you. Would you like to at least have a conversation?" But you've been found because your profile is fully complete. Don't just have a basic profile. It's a sales tool.
Right. Yes. And so it's the executive recruiters that they come on there and are using that for searching, and LinkedIn keeps changing too. Like there's they have LinkedIn has a story now too, right? Like
yeah. Joe, I'm not too sure about that one, but I'm going to study that tomorrow, coincidentally. But yeah, no, they're always changing. The new bells and whistles always come online, and you need to keep pace with it. And you need to, I have clients and I coach them when they finish with me and they got their job, and I say, you'll probably be back with me in 3 or 4 years' time. And they say, yeah, I don't think so. But anyway, they are, because they're laid off. So I see my clients totally disappear on LinkedIn. And then suddenly, one day, they post 3 things. And then the next day, they post 3 things. And the next day, they post 2 or 3 things. So I pick up the phone and I say, "Hi, Mike. It's Martin Buckland. Remember me from 4 or 5 years ago? I know what's happened to you. You've just been terminated." And they say, "How do you know?" And I say, "Oh, well, I've just seen you on LinkedIn for the first time, in 4 or 5 years. Don't you remember our conversation that you should still use LinkedIn as a platform for content to market yourself, your personal brand and whatever?" "Oh, yeah." So you need to be on LinkedIn, not as aggressive as when you're in career transition, but you need to use it, and it's free. Like, use it. Like, very few things in life are free that gets you to a global audience. Like, I think it's, as of yesterday, I think it's 721 million people. So you've got a chance of 721 million leads.
Million, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's a very important point. Just as you were saying before, that just because you have a full-time job and you're employed, you should always have had. I know I was guilty of the same thing. I didn't have an updated resume because I was with the bank, and I thought, okay, that's it. I don't need a resume anymore. But it's important to have that updated resume. But more important than ever now is to have your profile be current and be providing value on a regular basis so that people see you. Because like you said, even if you are not necessarily looking for a job, if you keep, you want to be known as the person to go to for whatever it is that you are doing, and for people to find you and to be providing value. That's what it's all about. Yeah, is providing value.
And you want to get those referrals as well. You operate on referrals. I operate on referrals. There's nothing better to an entrepreneur than a referral. That's quite, it takes me back, because somebody's thought, well, this guy's a great guy. He does great resumes, or he does great coaching, or plays, or got a huge network. I mean, I have a vast network. So referrals are good. But yes, you career management is an education. I'm trying to take on this to educate everybody. People manage their finances, and then every March or April they go see their financial planner and they give money for various investment modalities. Different ones are RSPs or GICs or whatever. But they don't manage their careers. People who manage their careers when they're gainfully employed, as well as when they're in career transition, I don't say unemployed, I say career transition. Yeah. They advance their career and they earn more money, so they can earn more money to give to their investment, and then invariably they can retire earlier. So there's a good benefit to career management. There's a real positive benefit to managing your career, and you'll probably be far more happy in your job.
True, true, for sure. You will be more happy, and because you won't be somebody who's been sitting in the same job and not so happy, because you have to actively manage it.
Yeah,
I think
exactly. Yeah.
that's what it
Yeah.
is, being active. And then if you're providing value and posting on LinkedIn, sharing articles in your field or whatever, you're going to be top of mind as well. And you never know who other people know.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So
Which is
everybody watching here is some shape or form an expert, and they have to build their brand around that expertise. What is your niche? And then give me that compelling reason in that in a text format on that niche and why I should engage you over anybody else.
Yeah. And I think that gone are the days of where you go and you get your job out of school and you work for the same company for your career and then you retire there.
Oh yeah, no, it's actually frowned upon now. I mean, my father was in his same career from the day he retired, the day he left school to the day he retired, and that was okay in his generation.
Yeah.
But now, even when you're happy and you and there's no recession to lay you off or whatever, you should always look around every 4 to 5 years, because now it's frowned upon if you don't move around every 4 to 5 years. Plus, your company, your employer, will take advantage of that. And they won't compensate you to the equivalent that you could get at another bank or something. Yeah. So I've had clients just been in companies for 18 years, and then they've been terminated or they've left of their own volition or whatever, and then they've gone a lateral move and they've got something like $50,000 per annum jump just for doing the same job. But they could have got that had they moved around earlier. So you multiply that by number of years, and that's a lot of money.
Right. Yeah, so it definitely is. Career management is not something that was thought of in the past, but it's definitely something that people want to. And what's it going to look like for millennials and everybody going forward with the technology? During this time of shutdown and is normally when innovation happens and new things come out of it. So who knows what we're going to see from a technology point of view and totally new job categories created.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's lots of new jobs that have come up in the last few years, and there'll be obsolete jobs and there'll be new jobs. I mean, I was talking to somebody, one of my clients, and an executive recruiter last week. Robots, automation is going to be huge in the next 10 years or so. So we're on the verge of a huge boost in manufacturing here in Canada, in the UK, in the US, because they're bringing back this COVID. One thing that COVID has triggered is the need to manufacture with our own geography. Now, manufacturing is very labor intensive with our hands and various machinery, CNC machines and all that jazz. But now you can robotize that job. You can automate that. What a person does. So if you're in the manufacturing environment, that's going to be interesting. You need to advance your career now within that environment. You need to learn lean, and there's various lean methodologies and things like that. You now need to keep a pace with how to make a widget cheaper and quicker.
Yeah, right, exactly, because that was the whole reason that that manufacturing wasn't necessarily happening here and was happening overseas and in China and buying things from China and other places where labor is much more cost effective.
Yeah. Well, manufacturing is going to take off here. Everybody in that environment, and I'm pretty well connected in that environment, says Ontario is going to be the hub of manufacturing for Canada. And, the people I work with, like in industrial realtors, like JLL and CBRE and all those, they're buying up land, green spaces, and building. They will be waiting for permits from the municipalities to put manufacturing facilities. And some of those manufacturing facilities are going to employ 200 or 300 or 400 people. and they're coming down the road. You know, maybe well not tomorrow or late next year by the time they've equipped it out. Yeah, so yeah, that's the advantage of COVID. There are advantages of COVID. Yeah, you know, you're in your family unit, you get to know your family more, and then there are different types of jobs coming down. Manufacturing is going to be huge.
Right. Yeah. So at the other side of things, we need people who are able to do the thinking that the robots can't do,
Yeah.
and figuring out how to make use of, you know, the robots will do the repetitive tasks, and then you have to do the creative side of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
Yeah.
people, I mean, not you, people,
Yeah.
but yeah, exactly. And I did hear something just recently, one of the grocery stores, I heard the commercial for Voila Sobeys, and they said robots do the picking,
Yeah.
and then our crew delivers, or something,
Yeah.
to that extent.
Yeah, that's
So
part of their brand. Yeah.
there you are, because the repetitive tasks that, you know, people don't necessarily enjoy doing can be automated, so that you can, I mean, it's no different than when you are an entrepreneur, and you should be focusing on the pieces that you're good at, the things that you are good at, rather than doing, like, so many entrepreneurs start off doing everything themselves.
Yeah.
And try to do everything yourself. And the only way that you are able to scale and grow is by figuring out what you should be doing, and doing that part,
Yeah.
whatever you're good at, and then outsourcing the other pieces.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I heard somebody say it, you know, you do whatever your strengths are, and you hire out your weaknesses.
Exactly. No, that's very true. Yeah. No, I have a tribe around me. So I have a web designer, I have a blogger, I have a videographer, I have other people, I have an IT guy. Oh my gosh, I need that guy like all the time. And then, you know, so yeah, I mean, I have a tribe, and they're all experts, and they feed me and they help me. I mean, I'm a great team builder anyway.
Yeah, and it all helps us all to do better, and to be better.
Yeah.
And as we all are better, then, you know, everybody else in our world rises up and is better as well. So
yeah, so we feed each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the whole side of you know, COVID and being shut down and everything. The one thing you were mentioning before, that you used to travel quite extensively,
Yeah.
and you weren't here much.
Right.
So you weren't really getting outside to, you know, meet your neighbors and get out into your neighborhood and out for walks and things like that. And you're now doing that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've taken it of my own volition. I need to exercise more. You know, I was walking around towns, Hong Kong, Singapore, Sydney, Australia, London a lot, Paris, you know, you name it. I was lucky. I'm very lucky. I was traveling the world. So I was walking around those towns, but I wasn't walking around my own neighborhood. And I live in a very quiet neighborhood, ski and a golf resort, Horseshoe Valley, just above Barrie. And it's I live on a road there's a cul-de-sac, but it's a 6. And I hadn't actually been down the bottom of my road, round this 6 part, for 10 years. Now I'm round there 4 times a day, and I know everybody. I actually speak to them. They come out and hi Martin, how are you? And they said to me, well, I never ever thought anybody lived in your house. Well, I didn't really. I was here. It was just a sort of B&B. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a place to come back to pack for the next trip.
Yeah, exactly.
To do laundry and clean and whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've spoken to so many people. Same thing. They somebody was 4 years in their house and had never met the neighbors, because he would come out, go into the car, and go to work, and was never outside. And now all of a sudden walks, and everybody's outside, and neighbors. And I think that we've seen a lot of that, a lot of community coming together and supporting each other. And so from that perspective, there's a lot of good that's come out of this from a community building perspective.
Well, the classic example of that is, for the first 3 months, actually 4 months, I think it was, every night, 7:30, dead on the bell. we used to come out of our house and I had a pot and pan and I used to bang it in aid of the healthcare workers.
Right.
And the next door neighbours, the one that had a bell, another one had a trumpet, another one had a guitar, all sorts of musical instruments, hidden talent. And we all used to come out, and that's where I really got to know my neighbours just opposite and next to me and whatever, who I didn't even know. I'd never, hardly ever spoken to. And of course, when winter sets in here, you do hibernate, but we won't hibernate this year. We've made it a mission that we will all get out and at least meet. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, it's so good, especially when you're working in your home and you're always at home. You need to get outside. You need to get out in nature, and even even when it is winter and it's cold, but if you go out on a nice sunny day,
sure,
at least the sun, the sun on the snow is beautiful. I'm not really a winter person, but the cold crisp air too is great.
Sure, it's good for you. Yeah. I mean, I've even taken it. I've been taking it a step further. I'm really taking this seriously. I went to Mark's warehouse. I've never been in that place, and it's not really my brand. But I went to buy one of these fluorescent working man's jackets. So now I can walk out at night, and it's got quilted and whatever. It's not going to be for minus 25, but it's going to be for minus 10 or so. And I'll be able to. I look like a walking beacon, now. So, but I will be using that because I need to walk at night as the days get shorter.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's just great to get out in nature because it also rejuvenates you. And especially when you're, like we say, being on Zoom and it takes a lot of energy out of you. And so to get that break and out into nature, then, rejuvenates you and you're ready for the next day, and you'll sleep better too.
Charge it up. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, thank you so much, Martin, for giving me your time to talk about everything and what we've been going through. As I was saying before, I think that it was I don't think any of us thought we'd still be here so many months later, and now, of course, the whole second wave is going through. So it's going to be continuing like this for the next little while, and which is why a lot of people have taken the time to figure out how to do business, because unlike how we thought it might have been a temporary thing, it isn't. It's changing business, and going forward,
exactly.
It's going to change a lot of things going forward. This online, the whole concept of online, even when we go back to live conferences, I'm thinking that it's going to be a hybrid combination of online and live.
No, I'm with you. Yeah. So take advantage of this time now. Don't hibernate. Learn. Do one of the business schools courses that can go from anywhere from 2 or 3 days all the way through to 6 or 7 weeks or longer if you want to take a degree. And then also manage your career. So that's what I'd like to leave your viewers with.
Be proactive.
Career management is very important. Get on LinkedIn. Start building content. Start sharing. That's what you're going to go with. That's going to help you, not maybe next year, but the year after. And
don't disappear when you get a job.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Manage your profile and keep it current. It's only going to benefit you.
Sure. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Martin. I will put your information up underneath this interview as well when I get it up there.
Thank you.
So that anyone who is interested in contacting you about any of these areas. And again, thank you for your time. It was great talking to you. And,
thank you, Michele. It's a pleasure.
Stay safe.
I will. And you.
And, and we look forward to when we can be out networking in person and shake hands again, right?
Exactly, yeah. Shortly, hopefully. I don't think it's going to be in the next couple of months, so yeah.
Not till next year, I'm sure.
March, April, yeah. But at least we've got something to look forward to.
Well, at least we have this technology for, connecting with people over the winter. And
exactly.
the bonus to it, too, is you don't have to drive anywhere in the snow for networking.
Right.
You can do it online from your house.
Exactly, so. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And bye, everybody, for now.